What is up? Thanks for joining me for today's Twins system recap for Saturday, April 18th. In case you missed it, yesterday did not find time to record a video. Actually, didn't have the time, didn't have much to say yesterday either, but I did put a post on my YouTube channel. Anyway, that's going to be kind of the process on the nights I can't find time or the motivation to record. But we are here today, Twins system recap for Saturday. Saints lost, Windsurge won, Colonels lost, Muscles lost, and by those scores, you can probably guess there weren't a whole lot of good pitching performances. Saints give up 10, Colonels give up 14, Muscles give up 9. Ouch. Also, the Twins lost 5-4 in a game they probably should have won, really. Royce Lewis did a homer in his rehab assignment with the Saints in his first at-bat, went 1 for 4. Travis Adams pitched a 1-2-3 inning for the Muscles and got a strikeout. 3 stars of the day across the minor leagues here. Hendry Mendez, guy who had a 2-homer game earlier this week, also homered tonight, 2 for 4 with a homer, 2 runs, and 3 runs batted in. Mendez now hitting, he was off to a slow start before this week. He's now hitting 327, 393, 612. That's a 1,005 OPS. Interesting thing about him, though, is he's been a guy who's been about even, strikeout to walk, which is great. So good approach. Right now, he's got 12 strikeouts and 3 walks. So, you know, I could see, and having watched him a bit, I could see he might be pressing. Maybe a guy who feels like he should be in AAA and maybe has a point about that. But hitting really well, having a great week. Nothing too early, very early, nothing to be concerned about. Tanner Schobel is the second star of St. Paul. 2 for 3 with a homer, a walk, and a stolen base. So he did a little bit of everything. Now that Ryan Kreidler is up with the Twins, speaking of Royce Lewis, Kreidler's up with the Twins, Royce Lewis, and he DH'd today, did Royce. So that's kind of opened up a little bit of playing time for Schobel, and he's going to need to take advantage of it, which he did today. But the first star, there weren't many pitching performances, but CJ Culpepper did have a very nice start. 4 2/3 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Very nice. And this is, the Twins are limiting their minor league starters. He threw 75 pitches and then came out. So it's not easy to pitch into the 5th inning on that kind of a pitch count restriction. But on the year, he has a 1.62 ERA, a 1.08 whip, 17 strikeouts in 16 2/3 innings. 9 walks, though. So that's kind of been the thing. He's obviously 1.62 ERA. He's pitched well, but he's got 9 walks so far. Kind of taking a deeper look into this outing, I did notice that his delivery is slightly different from last year. He has a bit of a longer arm circle than he has had in past years on his, the start of his delivery. CJ Culpepper is throwing a bit differently from 2025. Not a huge difference, but not like an overhaul, but a tweak more so. But again, pitched great today. Nice to see Culpepper, another guy who maybe has a good case that he should be pitching in AAA. Although, no one, Mendez or Culpepper, it's not like they're hurting from being in Wichita. But anyway, moving on to the honorable mentions. Again, no other pitcher to mention. Rough. Emmanuel Rodriguez hit a home run, did strike out 3 times as well. But his home run, according to the Saints, was 117.1 miles per hour. Which would be a Saints record and the second hardest hit ball in Major League Baseball this year. Hit it way out of CHS Field. And I put it at that phrasing of the Saints because for some reason on Baseball Savant, the StatCast public data we can access, it glitched out on that, and we don't have that. So Amick, McCombs, Diao, and Bass were the other guys to get honorable mentions. Jacob McCombs, the guy I've chatted with, I think, multiple people now down in the comments about him being really interesting. 7th-round pick, 21-year-old still. 7th-round pick from last year's draft, so this is his first full pro season. It's not crazy that he's already in with Cedar Rapids because, a guy like Merrick Houston, who's a top pick, is that at that point. I feel like if you get outside of the first 5 rounds, you don't see guys go straight to Cedar Rapids in their first full year. And he's there, and he's thriving. He has a 1,043 OPS, for the Colonels. You see there 2 for 4 with a double and a hit by pitch, drove in 3 runs. He's not drawing. That's about the only thing he's not doing is drawing walks, McCombs, right now. So that's kind of a box to check, but he's definitely a guy to get on your radar. I had him barely inside my Twins top 50 list entering the year, but he's definitely working his way up that list. Star scoreboard, Manuel Rodriguez picks up a point for the honorable mention. CJ Culpepper puts himself into that big 8-point tier. There's 5 guys now tied with 8 points, and the top of the guys don't change at all for today. So there you see the update. Ben Ross was the top star guy yesterday, if you missed it. So he pushed himself up ahead of Kalen Culpepper. So Ben Ross just keeps chugging along. There's CJ Culpepper. The Wichita Wind Surge have a serious identity crisis. I think they have about 5 different team names they play as, and the Chili Buns is one of them. Sure, Wichita Chili Buns, whatever. Additional notes, some kind of concerning thing. I don't have a lot of good stuff to say. A lot of times when we get to this screen, obviously if anybody had a really good game, we would have already discussed them. But Walker Jenkins 0 for 4 with a walk, a run, and a strikeout. Eduardo Tait only caught for 6 innings, if I'm remembering correctly, this game, and gave up 8 stolen bases. But, you can't paint that any different. He did get hit by a pitch, and then he stayed in to run the bases, but he didn't come back out to catch. But he'd also been hit in the foot catching in this game, and Cedar Rapids was getting blown out. So I don't know if there's anything to be concerned about there, but, a bad game for Eduardo Tait. Jason Doktorczyk was the starter. I don't think he helped him out much in terms of controlling the running game, but that's not something you can brush away. 8 stolen bases against. Quentin Young, another guy to be concerned about, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, has been striking out like crazy, and he committed his 8th error in what's just been 13 games played. I can't remember. I'd have to go back. I haven't thought about this deeply yet, but I can't remember seeing a guy this raw, but that has such obvious talent, but it's so unrefined. And, obviously this is the first half. We're barely past halfway through the first month. He's got to play. He's got to play a ton, and some of these games are going to be ugly, and that's just how 2026 is probably going to be for Quentin Young. But you might catch a moment of brilliance, too. Again, he's shown some flashes. So anyway, that's it for tonight's recap. Check out Limestone Pipeline. I shared a video yesterday with a bunch of Riley Quick and some Connor Prelip, and then a bunch of home runs from Ben Ross, Hendry Mendez, Eduardo Tait, Eduardo Beltre's walk-off homer from the other night. So go check that out at Limestone Pipeline on Patreon. We'll talk again tomorrow.